The worst thing about dinner, it's not cooking, it's not getting groceries, it's not even cleaning. It's deciding what to make. That's my opinion. And if you agree with me, say me too in the comments below so we can commiserate. I just hate deciding what's for dinner. And that is why in 2017, I created the vegan family meal plans, and I've been refining them since. And this is what my own family eats from every night. There's 26 plans. Each of them covers 2 weeks. And this is basically taking care of all of my dinners and the weeknights, at least, for the entire year. And it is so much easier that past me has made those decisions. And I can make those decisions for you too. If you would like to download a sample plan from this, you can go on my website, veganfamilykitchen.com. The specific link is going to be below in the notes, and you can find out what it's like to eat this way. And in this video, I am going to show you what it's like to follow the meal plans, what kind of dinners we've been eating for 2 weeks. I followed almost to the T the vegan family meal plan sample that you can download from my website. See in the description of the video for the exact link. You can download the plan, and you're going to get the full recipes, shopping lists, prep steps to take in advance to get those building blocks that you can then mix and match to assemble your weeknight dinners. This here is a sample meal plan, and I'm going to show you what the dinners actually look like in real life. And here's a warning. This is not shot in like a kitchen studio offsite. This is my real life kitchen. These are the dinners that my family ate. And so it doesn't look totally staged and style. It is just everyday food for a healthy vegan family. Let's just start with an overview of what every meal plan is like. And you can see on the front page here that there's the list of dinners that you're going to eat in the first week and then in the second week. And in the table, you can also see the tasks that you are going to take at mealtime. So, 5, 6, 7 p.m. every day. And in the other column, the advanced prep components, or often I call them building blocks, the parts of the meal that you prepare on the weekend, most likely in a batch cooking session. And for that, by the way, I strongly recommend you join Cooking Club, which is a Zoom gathering of healthy vegan cooks like you. We just get together on Zoom. We're each cooking our own thing. It's not a class. I'm not teaching. I'm doing my own prep, but it's just awesome camaraderie and great company, a little bit of chatter. People can ask questions to each other, and we share so much. And it's just great to be able to show up for ourselves and for each other in that shared virtual space. And that is when the batch cooking happens for me. And I will admit that if there's no cooking club, often I just don't do the batch cooking. Your mileage may vary. It's free, so why don't you just come drop in and see how it goes for you. In each of the meal plans, there is the prep plan that includes basically the recipes for the building blocks that you prepare on the weekend. So I'm going to tell you for this plan what was in the first batch cooking session. It was brown rice, roasted squash, roasted beets, baked tofu. So you can see if I'm starting the oven, I'm just using it for a lot of different things. Tofu bolognese sauce. So that's using some more roasted tofu here, in addition to making a really scrumptious pasta for tofu. In addition to just making an awesome sauce for pasta. And also another scrumptious sauce, the peanut sauce. I just love the addition of peanut sauce. It feels a little bit decadent, doesn't it? There is also a week B, so a second prep session that's usually smaller than the first one, made of steps that really, if you need to, you can just take them on the weeknight before it's time to cook. And in this case, in the week B prep session, there is seasoning some black beans, mixing up a pineapple salsa with chopped pineapple. And as well, because I think the pineapple is used for the pizza, because there is pizza dough. And I encourage you to prep the pizza dough on the weekend. And finally, making some vegan sour cream using cashew here. So when dinner time rolls around, I don't open the fridge and think, what am I going to make from basic ingredients? No, I have already prepared a number of building blocks that are prepared, packaged, ready to roll out and assemble into the final weeknight meal. And many of those building blocks are used in more than one dinner, so it's a lot more efficient than planning 5 or, heaven forbid, 7 different dinners and cooking each one from an individual recipe that has no connection to whatever you're going to eat later in the week. No, it's all integrated together. And that's what's so great about the meal plans, because I've done all the thinking, all the project planning over several years to make sure that those building blocks interlock, kind of like Lego. Maybe I was inspired by all the Lego I stepped on in that period, but the building blocks are integrated and work together to save you time, to reduce food waste, to save you also, of course, money, and make things just easier in the kitchen. Make it basically like a downhill glide instead of an uphill battle every night. So what did we eat in those 2 weeks? What were those 10 dinners? Let's have a look more closely. For every meal plan, there is a detailed night by night plan. That's only in the family plans. The mini plans are a little bit different. I'll make another video some other time. But in the mini plan, you have instructions, very clear, as simple as possible, about what you do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night. And those instructions include those last minute prep things to do and how you are going to use those building blocks. So what did we eat in the first week? Number one, on Monday, gado gado. It's basically a room temperature, lukewarm Indonesian kind of salad that is composed of both raw and steamed vegetables, brought all together with that delicious, amazing, flavorful peanut sauce that I mentioned earlier. And it also comes with baked tofu as the bean product to round up the meal. The great thing about the gado gado is that every person can load up their own plate based on their personal preferences. If they don't like green beans, they just don't have to put them on their plate, of course. It's a fantastic dinner for everyone. What is on Tuesday night? Peanut and chickpea stew. You may have heard about this as African peanut stew, for example. Also super flavorful thanks to the peanut. In this case, I'm using peanut butter. It is a dish that I make in the slow cooker, so no prep on the weekend, just maybe 10 minutes in the morning to throw everything in the slow cooker. It could also be made at the last minute on the stovetop before dinner, but the flavors wouldn't get quite as much of a chance to develop. So I really strongly support the long simmering that you can get in the slow cooker. In the meal plan, you will see that I combine the peanut and chickpea stew with a roasted spaghetti squash, which serves as a starchy vegetable in this case, and rounds up the dish really nicely while adding more veggies. It's one of my favorites. Well, speaking of favorites, another favorite, Wednesday, we were having winter spaghetti bolognese. Spaghetti bolognese was my favorite thing growing up, and now I have made the recipe not only vegan, but seasonal. So in the vegan meal plans, spaghetti bolognese or some version of bolognese sauce comes back every season. And every time it is adjusted to take into consideration the seasonal vegetables that we're lucky to have and a different mode of preparation for what would otherwise be the meat of the bolognese. So of course, we're not using beef, though I suppose you could be using vegan beef. That would be okay. You can buy ready-made vegan beef of some sort. That's fine. In the case of this specific recipe, I am using tofu that's been roasted into crumbs, super flavorful, that are added to the very rich, vegetable-heavy, amazing bolognese sauce. The sauce was prepared in the batch cooking session, and it has allowed the flavors to develop more, making it a really tasty dish 2 days later on Wednesday night. Super comforting also in the middle of the week when you're super busy. All I had to do was take the sauce out of the fridge, warm it up, blend it with the ready last-minute cooked pasta, and it was a fantastic dinner. Take note that the bolognese sauce comes back in the second week of this meal plan too. I'm going to get back to that in a moment. Thursday, what's on Thursday? Quick curried red lentil soup. That is a soup that comes together on the stovetop at dinner time in about 20 minutes. It is super easy to make, super flavorful. And guys, soup is underrated. Everybody loves soup. It's one of those comforting dishes that you can load up with vegetables, add some lentils, throw in a handful of greens as well. It's just so awesome to enjoy on a weeknight. And it doesn't have to take long. Finally, on Friday, we had arroz con hongos, mushrooms and rice. Basically a really quick stir fry, but without hardly any oil. I can't remember if I used any here, but if I did, it was probably about a teaspoon. It is absolutely not necessary. If you don't want to use oil, by the way, you can always skip the oil in the vegan family meal plans, except in like maybe 2 or 3 times in the entire year where I say, I think it would be a good idea to use oil in this specific recipe, and you can just skip it if you don't want to. I always offer substitutions and other suggestions as to what you can do to cook without oil and also without salt. Salt is always optional in the entire vegan family meal plans. So that Friday arroz con hongos, it was almost like a takeout dish. It was super quick, super easy, very flavorful. I used the brown rice that I had prepared in batch cooking earlier, so I didn't have to prepare a whole lot of fresh food there, just chopping those mushrooms and bringing everything together. A+. And obviously way healthier and cheaper than ordering in. So what did we do in the second week? I admit that I did not do the batch cooking on the weekend the second week. I will tell you what was on the batch cooking plan for the second week, though. It was the roasted beets, but I had done those the week before. There were the seasoned black beans, mixing up that salsa, mixing up the pizza dough. That is really, by the way, so much easier than everybody thinks it is. You can totally make pizza. There's a whole article about that on my website. I'm going to put it in the link below. And of course, you can download, again, this sample meal plan to see all the instructions and check it out and do it yourself. If you have downloaded the meal plan and you're looking forward to trying it, please put it in the comments below. It makes me so happy to know that there are people who care about really good food and who take advantage of those resources I've put out there on my website for them to be able to eat healthy vegan food without having to think about what to make for dinner all the time. So back to that prep session, I just didn't do it. I admit that if there's no cooking club to meet with me, often the batch cooking session just goes to the wayside, but I was pretty confident that I would be able to wing it on weeknight, preparing those things at the last minute, or sometimes throwing them together over lunchtime. For example, I'm lucky to work from home. If that's the case for you, you can totally do that. Otherwise, putting in an hour on the weekend is really worth it to avoid headaches on weeknights. Okay, so Monday, it said here, burrito bowl with pineapple salsa. And I don't know exactly what happened, but we forgot about the bowl part. We just rolled it up as burrito. My son in particular loves having burrito night. He rolls up his burritos with just the rice and black beans and salsa, and he's super happy. So he did that, and the rest of us had the burritos with all the fixings. It was a great dinner. On Tuesday, one of my favorite soups, borscht or beet soup. It was made with the roasted beets. I had roasted the beets about 8 days prior. They were undisturbed in the fridge for the whole time. They were perfectly fine. There's no concerns there. I wouldn't have taken, opened the container in and out several times during the week. If I did that, then I would have been concerned about maybe bacteria contamination, but it was undisturbed in the coldest part of my fridge. It was fine. And I threw the beets in the slow cooker in the morning, along with a bunch of other ingredients. Very simple to make. And when I finished my day, I had this lovely soup, and I just blended it smooth with a stick blender. So that was my borscht. And not having had to work pretty much at all before dinner, I was able to throw in some potato latkes. Also, the recipe is here. They're basically potato cakes, fried very lightly, not using very much oil here again. But I think this is one of the cases where it's good to use a tiny bit of oil. And the potato cakes were just cooked on both sides in the skillet until they were cooked through. And it was really fantastic to pair with the vegan cashew-based sour cream. I just threw the cashews in the blender with a bit of water and a couple of seasonings. Super easy, super delicious. And that same cashew cream is used on Wednesday, because on Wednesday we have Hawaiian pizza. It would have been a tiny little bit quicker. I would have saved maybe 5 or 10 minutes if I had done the method that is recommended in this sample plan here of pre-mixing the pizza dough on the weekend and doing cold fermentation over a few days. I didn't do it. I put the pizza dough together over lunchtime, mixing in the yeast and the flour and lukewarm water, and it was fine. It was perfectly ready by the time I got to dinner. My kids love to have their pizza with vegan pepperoni and vegan cheese, so that's what they had. The other 2 pies, I made one of them as suggested in the meal plan as kind of a Hawaiian pizza. I had chunks of, apparently that's a Canadian thing. Is that a Canadian thing? Is it okay to put pineapple on pizza? I think it's fine. So we had this Hawaiian pizza with slices, thin slices of smoked tofu, which really gives a ham kind of feeling, and chunks of pineapple, not too big, so they were able to get really warm and bursts of flavors from having been in the oven with the cashew cream drizzled on top. And I had still some dough for another pizza, and I ended up adding a bunch of other vegetables from the fridge. Pizza can be a catch-all for your weeknight dinners, and you can throw in whatever you've got on it. Oh, Thursday, I told you about that bolognese sauce that I love so much with all the vegetables and those tofu crumbs that are super flavorful. Well, I use it again in the second week of this meal plan, but it comes not on pasta, but on roasted portobello mushroom caps. And it's super quick to come together, just removing the stems and scraping off the gills of the mushrooms, putting that on a baking sheet with a scoop of bolognese sauce on top and pop it in the oven. Supremely elegant results with really no time whatsoever. Serving with some power greens, box greens, that is fine. Just eat your greens. I don't care if you come in a box. Get the box greens on the side with the drizzle of balsamic vinegar, maybe pumpkin seeds or some other kind of seed as a topping. It was very awesome to have as a dinner on Thursday night. What happened on Friday? I can tell you what's on the meal plan. The meal plan says black bean tacos with red slaw. And I'm pretty sure that's what we had, but I forgot to take a video of it. So you have to take my word for it. And all it involves is some of those seasoned black beans that had been used already on the Monday on the burrito bowl and mixed up with any salsa left over. If you have some, just put whatever you have. That's wonderful. In taco shells, we personally prefer those soft taco shells, red slaw on the side, which is a mixture of red cabbage and some seasonings to make basically a coleslaw, but from red cabbage. The red cabbage is extra nutritious and brings a boost of flavor and a lot more nutrients than regular green cabbage. Regular green cabbage is great. It's a cruciferous vegetable, but the red one is even better. So that's how we topped up the Friday night. So if you would like to try this meal plan at home, you just have to go to the link that is in the YouTube video description below and download the Vegan Family Meal Plan Sample Plan. It has 2 weeks worth of dinners, week A, week B, the entire recipes, the shopping list that's done up for you in different categories. So it's easy when you go to the store. And by the way, I bet that you already have a lot of those ingredients at home because there's no like weird ingredients in here. Those are all everyday ingredients that you will find at pretty much any supermarket, in addition, and probably in your pantry, in addition to fresh produce that you can mix and match together. And probably if you need substitutions, there's a section at the very beginning for substitutions. And if it doesn't answer your question, just message me. You have my contact information on it, and I'm always happy to help people who are trying to cook really good food for themselves and their loved ones. Also, make sure to join us at Cooking Club. I'm going to add the link to that in the comments below as well. It is a game changer for accountability and motivation and community, and it's free. So just come by. It will be delightful to have you there. Now, keep on cooking and see you very soon again in the Vegan Family Kitchen.